Radio Link 89.1 FM Sunie Matia Fonyina Junonum Abo Apambra Son Sen Sama Huda Yansa Kanom Samu for Sam Nada Urama Yatana Siakin Canada Mao Saka Siaka Nation Son Sen San Odoso www.radiolinkgh.com Nsama Yadio Bay Ona Froben and what Tim Akin Canada Free Hop Kaseɛ Wadamu Live on Facebook Ubanyana what Tim Ashe Radio Link 891 Righteous Radio wa Kadiatum wa Blue Cross Zagidi Abian Kuha wa Abuaso South Black Avenue Kranza Kwana Subabia Diatum Agrobeso Amanaso Bush Canteen Hensa Numere wa Diatum Sheye wa de Kasiana Asheye Amabusia Faba Hono Banya bi ya betie wano wachi abna doctor wa bia Diatum Total Falling Station ya work mass station afei ba koso on the Methodist school no dia nhwe Babia ni kuha eno tachiwa information center watwimia kwanta hwanso babia Kaseɛ di atum no bobo wuramanu koduru hensha gabi stone electricals wabia ni kuha busiafo betie Kaseɛ bi tamale station haje Mary obutuo ya abia di atum ne nsema ya di obra no die odim akotene bi nie nyame ya aduma akuafo basa ha aduasannum bebo baso wo akuafo bas bode dwumadie ya akwaso amane ganam num
inherited a warehousing capacity of 34,000.
Na waswafo ya wano enehwe arukota honsam so Dr. Owusu Afriye Akoto wade atodwa akere se ban bose ya wo hye yese warehouse makomako aduonu bako wo ba besia no sabre ayekrado.
A warehousing capacity of 34,000 metric tons. And at a stroke, we're able to add 80,000 metric tons of capacity.
US for Baba Tono da Suaya Wakaso, Cote d'Ivoire, every Kosu. Bediane Batu, Avian in the US Ambassador to Ghana. Her Excellency Stephanie Sullivan, what church and Semu.
This year is different in many ways, and this is one way you've highlighted that it's different. I don't expect that we will know when we wake up tomorrow morning.
Kane Mampanyine John Dramani Mahama atutu bi Ediaman Special Prosecutor Owura Martin Amedu atrese eba se honsan semno wode ajapade report munsem bi akwakọ wuram eyeboapayo na wode yesade no.
Issues about no guarantees for value for money, bid rigging and all that. Those were accusations that came up as soon as the agreement was laid in Parliament.
Yene sanse nyam ni donkuma ya bo mrasebe dwamba kan se basma be kan mre bia twa no nei the special prosecutor dia ban a vindicate ben so nimonyamfo se HMS bonso de basa na be kan no sere kwa.
Thing is, you can't just conjecture from the top of your head. I mean, sometimes these things are very preposterous. Somebody sits somewhere as making a definitive pronouncement.
Now, Executive Director Edema Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Wamodi atodwa akere se wamodi mrabi akwakoto mrase bedwafie ya womba bebobo ho na samra ya womba bebobo ho no mrase bedwafo ya wode wonsa be hye samra no ase no wombeto aba edetia wom.
Whose interest does this bill really serve? We propose that Ghana should instead be working on getting a sui generis farmers' rights and plant breeders bill that promotes and protects the rights of smallholder farmers.
Wey onin sama hudo ebre ni atena se anwumre yi ya kenkane di ama do hwere ba kontam woni ye ntena sansa ni pa ebre ni ya wa ya di ama o enyanum mienu ni wat ye nka mendini ni ye oba pa efia aboaje wa mene
Kwajo wusu.
Ya jibebia to separate saying, ye day
afe ye concern no ankasam afibia be da krodi siwa ya bade bo akuafo abaso amane ganam ne sa ba so body adwuma di afi ne nka obekọ so fie da de odi kane wo December bosumi nim nso afi
so mama obatampa
ne wo kwa ye de tu send what here
jo mama me da se anwumre de obepie mu Methodist Park a yenya yenim say 36 Farmers Day no ye ne ye start watchina na enne ye day 2 na wo ba ha adwumadie no ekoso kama eye Minister of State Honorable Dr. Nura Jele Owahaibi na Deputy Minister Accra Mama Elizabeth Saki ono so ewo adwumadie yase a Bibia koso kama Director of Agric Honorable Paul Siame ono so ewa habi na Asante Regional Minister ono so wa ha na ono na me beto se o kasa na ne kasa ye mu de na o ka ne se Ghana nyame ahira ye de be ye wa ha bia eyeye enkanka se ye dua de bia be dua Ghana ha bia ye from na ye niam so eye soronko enti mranti amfa omo ho hye kurayem na omo so na omo ho so omo beboa ama bibia akose pepepe enti no obia fa ne ho enhye kurayem eno akiri no panfo bebre ekasa ye na de omo ka ye de esansa ma mantemti manti na kosi se mefri ha ne de menya bibia de abre atiefo na exhibition so de sense enam sa de asanti eye akona wieye na me de me beto ye cashew paste ye nua kobi wa hihya de fefefa wase ye no so wo betimi adi ni sankate betimi de di pan no wo de be ye abomu enkwan onfa chemicals bia ngum kobi tiger nut powder eno so wo be di ni se popo no anopa wo be di bia se na wa pa adwuma nwumre wo be di bia no so artificial way bia ni ma eye natural na je say kuafo nyame ahira wo ma aka yen Ghana fo ye wo mu no nti obi afa ne ho hye kuayem kuayo aye fefefe bibia ye de wo be hwe de wo ma package wo mo niam na utumi say Ghana ye koye nim eno nti say ye ndi Ghana ye hye Ghana ye num Ghana ye bibia anya Ghana ye kuro ya be ye kra be hwe wo be duru Methodist Park ha bibia kire say Ghana nyame ahira ye ampa na wo ba hanso aniam no bebre ebi to say tiwa right no e natural bia nim perfume hu bia nim a wo be di ama wa be yare bia and a prekese ginger drink garlic and honey e hyemu ma eno no ma esan ma wo me no na esan yi yare bebre fi ni paduanu ma Ghana nyame ahira yen yenkoso na yen fa ye ho hyem tana be ya ye be koye nima ma Ghana abeye kra behwe eno adwuma tichu enna ekoso ewo Methodist Park ha anwumre obapa
yo yada se ode wa mane ya wode baye nana ama ye boa ya mane bofo ne ote se o chense mu no ada okokopie nwa ho a ene abayire aba hye ne nkutunkutu pa afa nuane ahodo ya manfo ba de obekire de man no mane Ghana ha ya bebo ho dawura mansana ho bi so ye nuro ya bade gumfudie so wa ya fidie ya bade yafuo ntade ahodo ya ntoma baye no mane Ghana ha ya afa nam kona befa so abakire nam betoto nam one se de besiere nyina so no be kire ni nyina bi wa ha bad na di afa wo one niam ahodo o hwa Ghana ha se niam nkasa ye dua ya ye tindi bi aboa ye no be ebo ho dawuro wa kire nsempan fo bire wo ho Asante Mantam Suafo no munyamfo Samuel Semensa o hobi aya Greater Accra Deputy Regional Minister o hobi Director of Agriculture o hobi nipa baba no be do so pa we ye da otosumienu wa kuafo abaso bode dwumadia akwaso obono East Mantama Hinkro Tachiman
na wasuafo ya wono na ehwe kuayo ho nsam so ewo maimun eye Dr. Owusu Afriye Akoto wode atodwa akyerese aban no baye wo hye Ghana de hye nyina bo se wo baba beboa na wasi factory anase warehouse mako baye se aduo wotwe baako se de be ne beboa ama emfudi ahodo ya ye do ewo maimu no wo mbetimi anya baabie akora no na yenwura Afriye Akoto ekyerese aban no baye no wabɔ ne ho modern papa animu aye wode hyehyɛ agu akwamu nam so ama factory anase warehouse no emu mako aduonu bako de ayakra do ya enche kra no wo mba bebie na eye dwumadie ya mampanyina na adoda nkwakufu ade wode ato ne ho so se wo baba beboa esanse aban no baye ena wokofa planting for food and job creation de baye na dwumadie ya aban de aba no aboa ama wo man Ghana enuana no abusu se doso ya wo ye ne bibia da enye ye eba ne tomankesi nie emo brode na wo kyerese saa niam no nyina na dum pempenso ya na esei eno ka ho bie na ma ban no fare to no ho so se wo ba bebie warehouse ahodo se de be na eyadra ma no ba ye ne aba no na yenya ba bi pa akora bie se de be na da nkwam bi ye betumi anya bi adie na eno ka ho bie na ma aban abo no homode ya warehouse mako aduonum ba ko de sabre yi ani nyina aye crowd na Dr. Owusu Afiri Akoto asem nyina di wa na wono ma edi dwumadie bie ya edi ada so eye national building update na wabra wono to nsafre no ya wo kasa wase no ena wode tu dwa na seye ena wo kire mu efaye
a warehousing capacity of 34,000 metric tons, and at a stroke, we're able to add 80,000 metric tons of capacity. Extension services were almost non-existent. You know, extension is the link between science and the farmer. When I took over in January 2017, I decided to do an audit of the number of extension officers in this country. On the books, we're supposed to have 4,400 extension officers. What did I find? There were only less than 1,600. And listen to this. Out of the 1,600, instantly, I went to cabinet and made a very strong case, and I was allowed to employ 2,700. So we have them in the field, and I intend, because we are so confident we are coming back, to ask the next cabinet to give me another 2,000 extension officers.
Na Dr. Owusu Afiri ye to aso ede to dwa kire se empempi no akuafo no wonmo dokua no asa no a eya na esa wonmo ha wo mo papa na nso so se wo hwe afi we de no de enya de a esa biada atumi aha wo mo na enam so ema akuayo ho nsam ya wonmo do ye no aboa wonmo papa na wo gidie mapa se enei ya wonmo dokua no nyina mamfudie no nyina aba no wo mo ba benya ba bipa na wonmo asiesie na abana yakrado se esan hodo ya wonmete won ho egu enobaye so no nyina no ye ba betu ni nyina se e de afiri omam se de be na kuafo won ho ebetumi ahan wo mo na yentie Dr. Akoto Afiri.
I took up arms with my army led by the indefatigable the director of PPRSD and the other staff, and we're able to reduce to only 76 hectare loss in 2018, and last year 2019 only 26 hectares were lost. Now that we've taught the farmers how to treat it, we make chemicals available, extension officers are aware how to go about this. So all the stakeholders are now aware of the army. And as I report to you now, there's no report of even 1 hectare destroyed in 2020. So when I say I've defeated that army, you trust I have.
Ene ya ye kwakwatie ye aye oswafo ya wono ena kuakua yo nsam so ewo manmo Dr. Owusu Afiri Akoto.
Afimpi no wani adwanu dia abatwa afi no sane se mana hodo ebre na ni ba kwa dakama be tintim ayimpanyfo abedi banim abwa ama be mane ne betima cheche na fei ka mami nka bedwumadia wa amamwa kwane so atima kwani mu se wuyi marifo de ya ne nka betwa bibi kwasantwa mu mo ananso ma jampanfo ba pebi ne sebensia na ni sinchane a ene enuanom Ivory Coast en bebo hie yi ben so be de hia so kram na beto dwase be ampanyine ya wote akonwa so mampanyine Alasani Watara watim ahwiri adikane ya ne watena akonwa so ne mprensa suni ne wo hwe baba to no se de osikwa ya opposition be kan se na no memenda kra ba to ne ben kwankoto nti be wi aba no ene Alasani Watara 94.3% watim anya de adinkuni ngom ne nada ya kasa US fo so beba de no ogina so dendendene ya hwie be nada wankona we ye de ne US fo abato no ba tin de akwagu ama free na kore bia no nsunsan so betima aba se oye Donald Trump ne atima snatra konwa ne so ana nipa ya wode no opere ne ne ono atim aja konwa no e de Afripanyin ne nsam ana se wanje ye won ba mani Ghana ma US abana na musini di mama ni Ghana ye Her Excellency Stephanie Sullivan one nsantofo ya yenuano ma ba wan kredi nkomo ne ba to bi dia mane ye ne mami na sanya waka nyina ne se wa afi baba to na beto no COVID-19 anda wuruma wan se nkaka ni abato dia oduru ho abesha ase da wodi kanea nkrofo chinchene bena na sia last days na fe dimilika be kwa akwato nso afi ba dia na beto ye no ankwa basa nipa bre na ne 2 milika wagoto ne ntam no ndi ohune se oye COVID-19 na abanti na ma bia dimilika apese wakoto de early voting bia kwakwato ne de na da okwa ho a ne bebre na ne asa kyerɛ san covid-19 sienti ne bedbani atoto fam ya ba hwese ne bekɔ no ankasa de ada ato ne de ene online kora wotinto de san bebre na bagina so bato ba de ne se no ɔkyerɛkyerɛ babato ne se de wɔkɔ ne de diem de kyerɛ nsankyerɛfo.
This year is different in many ways, and this is one way you've highlighted that it's different. I don't expect that we will know when we wake up tomorrow morning, and so it may not be worth spending the night awake waiting for that. Every state administers its elections, and they all have different ways of doing things. So, for example, some of the states can already start processing the ballots ahead of Election Day. Not announcing the results, but at least they can get to work going through the things that have come in the drop box or by mail. Other states can't start counting until actually Election Day, and they have limits as to how many days they have to count all the ballots by. So this year we expect, it could be several days before the results are really known. It's weeks, and we have a very defined timeline for our electoral process, because a lot of focus is usually on Election Day itself. But as I mentioned, and you've highlighted, with the early voting, the whole election becomes much more of a process involving a period of time. So we know that the end date is January 20th at noon, when the newly elected president is sworn in and is the president for all Americans. But the process on the way coming to that point starts with the states. And the governors need to certify the results from the state. And this is important when we talk about the Electoral College, because the voters are voting directly for local candidates and for members of Congress and for ballot questions about taxes or zoning. But when it comes to president and vice president, voters are voting for what we call elector. So once the governors certify the election results.
Ne ya yekotie US Ambassador to Ghana, Her Excellency Stephanie Sullivan. Ne sadi abatu ewosi kwa wani Cote d'Ivoire de yankwa ahoma so. Ni ya ni owura kwabena eje oni de sa ne ma se na ni de kire pa no historian so. Ne wo mo ye nkyeremu no onhwese na ne ma wosi kwa. Oba wi akire no owura Trump oba se na di ana se obayi ni to akonwa na fe Cote d'Ivoire de okosi ye no so se do su hu no wontwa ho mfonyine fa nkyere ye. Owura kwabena je otimenka ma wadwoma wakwa abade ba radio link so watachiman.
Meje oso mawura.
Na ho tese.
Ne ho ye na ho so e.
Na me adon ho ye pa.
Yo ye dan me ase.
US for baba yi oni Cote d'Ivoire de ni nyina no wo de wani ade akire pen.
Ni bi aba ni bi akire pa me ready e be kwa kushi.
Ye sha se amfam free Cote d'Ivoire for baba de ne be ne ba to awie. O se no hu no.
Wo ma ba to na je da nga ba to e papa dia. If you say opposition parties wo no mo nyina. Candidates be na bi a o ma fa mo je kuran. Last no wakara ni nyina entino. Si kapa abafo ya hwehwe ye beto a wo no mo be si aka na so betu milika wo ma no betu so wo mu tu bi wa. Wo kono di o ka se wo di first. One why na call and would be fresh now and it toss me into a and Uncle Ye, Patodia.
You are part of that. Couldn't deal up and Diana Crano or Nefe.
Oh, the don't say, and Kananka, like the president will have to walk out about 2000. They can say almost only 5 years to be 10 years. What is an over? Owura na no ha no ye mampanyin no no ye na de so wo besesa mamreku ma France for na boa wo e na wo we ni aba no wo na wo ye prime minister of Buanyi peso actually advocacy na free Burkina Faso ama manfo no mo Africa e nyina se se wo free Burkina Faso a enkenya de anka wo betuma e prime minister e wa Ivory Coast obi ata wati e na wo mo ye ya na ho ni kona bebi asojafo e betu bi ye Robert Day Wenya ho na president ba ko na otu fi bo no be di mfie enuma ho do mi o ka so obi ko bi France so ja fo ampre ene de agonya no ma ho Who didn't feel you know who you know? Who yes, I'm man na find this would be. And on a man, a opposition parties are holy condemned the day. And I feel over Pascal, I feel in the sun, almost woman with a viewer. And one of Coeco. Now, Africa, and it is the element paying for us who come from the national company. The air and a high. And you want that one day, and yard, Papa, a woman says a woman polling stations, you grow higher. More polling stations, more than 26,000. It moved 6% year. Every day at Wabami, as a wow. Africa, I mean, who be higher, I didn't have a fire, but I was a EU name or more kind of Cassava, no who comes in the past. But you see, which in part is one about a transitional government to be a woman the range, almost a baby, a blue mine. And no any other day for quite any other Africa. And I had the American cry.
Young free one affair, young qua you as if for dear Maja. Or once I was quite young so Yaniba Nishibum. On also, other 1 year, dear Chile.
I'm a dear Chilomusua or more for. Who say you are about one? A so but my animal who and your niece, dear, this year, almost 2 years, you can carry another obey now in the US about Kessa. The battle is here, I also popular vote. So now the other doors of Krania don't need it. What more to say? I want to say, I want more to but she says, you'll be able to say, Joe Biden, any Donald Trump, the Democrats, and I feel Republicans major. And to that, one about 1 2 years, you have to get the gun at the end of 2 years. Yes, state to be the away. And when I am near this year, one more is a idea, one more popular votes, and a war electoral college votes. The only be president now, electoral college, and the president, and yeah, about 2 and almost 12 years, but about 2 will, and once you transform the electoral college on before the president. Into one more dear one, because I'm a chairman from Kaka. If you see, I'm a brain to children, but if they are trying to pass a more money, sure, the best I could be. You will need about 538 years, almost 12 years, a woman sample transit. No more you president, no more you vice president. In the state, there are almost almost 50 states, and at the state of GC, about 51. By 50, almost 2 houses, House of Representatives and a Senate. You are here 2 states there, we na party now over in the hall. One you need to be every state to be more Kushia. And more than the about the president. It is overwhelming. You are mobile phone. I was all who states the almost air camp. One about 3 years to it. It's not more that campaign to learn Muna. US, one more 2 or more. Brother, it be a Duada, it be a war Busumi Dubakuni. A first Tuesday after Monday in November. I don't know what for them. 1 2 years. No people one can get in a state in normal Kabuma by 14 December and on back where electoral college votes and on the president. Now the president only in a 20th January, normally less than American. Yes, can have by said if you console I free channel. Yanni amount for big chance in the woman here who you're obeying Abano. Oh, yes, but said if you follow the Ebosopa idea, you know your obeying. Party be our the alternative.
Oh, Nenen coming back with Sawi Saushe, Fear dear Etchan na Trump. O Tindi Badia Conjay, honestly said, dear, said a button or Sequana, who also is a Pelbetman, a bien.
Once a woman, I know more yet, who to say the Organa higher, but Waba will see with the Bagara, the other and your papa. If you make us a fear way, and so I don't go around 1 yard. It's the woman said, I am but push you know my now. I am not buying the but if you see that, so then you see only Hillary Clinton, one man with the car about trouble, but you know, popular goods in America. And the air care, popular goods in the woman, it may be a fear in your 30, community in your 20s, you won't know I'm winning, yes, but state by state, it's almost to say, buy the kind of push no my and buy the idea no more. But we be a bit weird, Indiana, and Sacramento, Nigeria, and the actually living idea.
Just about Naquasia Bia, regions no wa benya regions do no wa di first
regions ni mu no say unya na udi first ya emu no baby a ugina ye no fa regions na ugina mu no say udi first wo kai bo no wo mo beto aba yi nipa bi abom amoma kwa 538 no makushia but ya na wo mu no say state bia eyi fa nipa no according to population omo the population you know some 711,000 obe yi nipa ba ko the state no say bia mo bo ho as a 711 bo ho be 20 obe 20 state bia be California say wo na do so wo mo nipa 53 the state bia yi sa nipa no e de ko no mo ko no the state na ka chenza wo kwa ko to aba no we wo kwa no na obeto aha yeye bia wo kwa wo afie yi ze peti ma kwa yeye ko to ma ba re ya ko ya small wo kwa na wa ko jisika na wa ko to amu ye nya na sa but the ya ko ye say wa obenya popular votes na obe win the state ni mo no wo na ya na wo nipa no wo mo do so a wo mo kwa ye ka so mo tu ba menya da je na extra no pa nya bra ma chechi mpa na manfo by US ye nya popular votes there afie nya 20 we nya say na nya no na ye but state do uti ye ho ho win ya na electoral college na be yi no nipa do so
yo owura kwam na ya da se pa nwumere won school ya wodi akoyi
mezo da
owura o te se ne no odi nkomwe yi o historian abatwa ya wo kwaso wo US nani de akire pa ne afenso Cote d'Ivoire de ya kwagu ye so no ne nani de akire na odi akọ school wo no ndi US de ande nyame ya adoma kina ya betwa so
na wapani ya wo himu franka de ama ene DC chiri abata amanyo kwa prima mpanyina konwa eye kane mampanyini John Dramani Mahama wadi kwadu abo owura nsam ya ama ne homene so no wadi Japan royalties honsensam report bi awuramu ya wo pese wo faso na wadi gu nanim ase na sede ye nyina ye nim no owura Martin Amidu wabra mampanyina nado wo bedi ade na wo pa no se wa mameda asoye ya ye de kwadu ketasehye proye kankan na sichi kwadu bo obi a wono ene bedi sa asem special prosecutor office wapani wono ne ye de sa tumi ni nyina ahya nensa na ajapade ho nsa nsam ba ye no wapani wono ada ena sa case ni nyina egu nanimo na wabra wo ye ne hwehwemu mu no wode ababetu dwa kire se ensam ya eboboba no kane mampanyi John Dramani Mahama ne ho bo mo bie esanse bas ahonza nsam no ketasehye proye bi apie mu ewo ho na kane mampanyi John Dramani Mahama ne din apie mu ewo ho no bie na esanse afiwei eya abato afie nti eno nka ho bie enama saa nhwehwemu ahodo ya wono ye no nyina watwe esensan owura Martin Amidu ekyerese wamana kwanya se de beye na yawura abato afie mu no wobenya kwanya na wabo apro aye ne campaign ahodo nyina esensan kwa na enamso ama kane mampanyini John Dramani Mahama wode abeto dwa akyerese wadi owura Martin Amidu ho ya papa pase ketasehye kwa aduo ya yede ebobo no nyina no wono ankasa afa nkwati kwanso na wode akwakwa wuram ewo bas nsensem na wone fa bie ena kane mampanyini wakwakotena Star FM so ena wode kwadu ebo owura Martin Amidu ekyerese wono no ketasehye kwa aduo ya yede bo no enyade a ne ho awamu ba biada na eba scandals ho nsensam ya eboboba no nyina no se owura Martin Amidu ekyerese wo wankrata ye di adanse se opani wono ankasa ketasehye proye ne ho bo mu bia won famra montenso na Ghana de hie nyina enhuno na wone fa bie ena kane mampanyi John Dramani Mahama wode ato dwa akyerese wono no saa ketasehye kwa aduo ya ye de po no enyade a no kura biada wom na wono wo mo ni trimu po ba biada se wo kwakwa ye ketasehye na mom owura Martin Amidu ena pese wogu nanim ase ya enam so ama ene wabo ne din aka ho bi na seyi ena kane mampanyi John Dramani Mahama wo kire ne nsemu.
It's obvious why that paragraph was put in there. I mean, this damning report was coming out, and I'm disappointed in Martin Amidu to have put that paragraph there just to equalize and bring up Airbus as if it was a major issue. I've had my say on the Airbus issue. No financial benefit accrued to me, not a single dollar, you know. And the point even is, there is no basis. We're talking about a deferred prosecution agreement. in which nobody's names were mentioned, and yet there's been inference that it must be this person, it must be that person, and so legally he doesn't even have any basis to proceed. On what basis? On what document is he proceeding? Who has he spoken to? What investigation has he conducted? He should come out and tell us.
Na kanema panyini John Dramani Mahama eto aso de tu dwa kire se wono ne nsusue mu ono de anka beya anka ajapade ho nsem ne nyina anka wono munyi emfa mfiri ho kra se de be ne beboa masonwa ba esanse ekata asihya project aduo ya ye de bobo amanfo ne nyina eye kwanya nkrofo bi efa so na wono mudi sika ewo man mo enu nti se wono yi firi ho no mo a ebe ma kwanya enye John Dramani Mahama eto aso ede tu dwa kire se wo my Ghana agudia ya yenya no ehon fa so na be yokra mpo no a enka wono hunu kwan a wono be fa so na wono ebetumi ayuso esanse se wono de mankrofo bi esa no a kwan bi so no ya nakata se proye no eho ena ekokofa de ba na wono fa bie no ena wode atodwa kire se wono de obakoto asere se anka be ya emra no krampo enka wono nyi emfa mfiri mrahye badwa fie kura se de be na obi ada enya kwanya enkwa nkotena ho se okwa kire na dwembiada e de afasansem no ho na yentie se de okire mu efaye.
Issues about no guarantees for value for money, bid rigging and all that. Those were accusations that came up as soon as the agreement was laid in Parliament. It was also fast-tracked. It was put there. They were not given sufficient time to scrutinize it. It was passed quickly. Certainly whoever was sending it wanted it approved as quickly as possible so that these things would be covered up. But the special prosecutor kicked in and has raised the issues. I think it should be withdrawn completely, and there's no hurry to bring it back. I mean, a whole new look should be taken about what we want to do with our gold royalties, and then consensus built around it before any such agreement is brought.
Na mampanyin dada John Dramani Mahama eto aso ade to dwa kire se ebraso se aban no wobetumi ama ofotesamfo yenwura ken oforiata wobetumi atwe ne ho agina nchen esanse se wo share report ya special prosecutor wode baye efa Japan royalties ho nsensam no a wopani ne ho bom bie na wone fa bie na wode atodwa kire se wabra wone mede nsem bi etoto chief executive officer Edema Public Procurement Authority ho no owura Benjamin Boatin agye no mampanyine ama ne twene ho egina enchen enu nti se enei Ghana fotosamfo yenwura kenofurata ne din apiemu a adenti ena mampanyine entwene enyina nchen na wama enya nhwehwemu emfamfa ho ne nyina mu ono ena mampanyine dada John Dramani Mahama wode atodwa kire se animu ayai yenwura ken oforiata aban ma ne ntwene ho enyina nchen na nhwehwemu entonkoso sade ye ya chief executive officer Edema Public Procurement Authority wonomde ye no wonomfa sada enye finance minister na yentie sade wo kire mu faaye.
If such serious accusations are being an important person like the finance minister, one would have thought that he would act evenly in terms of the charge report and the PPA chief executive and the OSP's report and the Japan deal and the finance minister. And so he would have either asked the finance minister to step aside or, suspend him or sack him, after receiving the report. But he's been quiet on that front. If you want to act evenly, then you must, also give some sanction to the finance minister. But that's when nepotism kicks in, because we all know the finance minister is his cousin. And so while he's able to act in the case of the PPA chief executive, his hands are tied in the case of the finance minister. Otherwise, with the kinds of, the kind of report the OSP has brought, it indicts the finance minister in a major way.
And then
ya bufu ye nne no panyine ya ne dada nkoma no wor mase bedo nyamfo Haruna Idris no atese basa beka nne no office of the special prosecutor for nyina hu se ne bani abran beka Japan ho ase no no sese beka basa nyina ne se nne nya twom pa onko dia woni tumi akokoro kosam nya nipa bi ne bewo wo mani Ghana munti ba bibia ona se pese ben ko a benya dinti bi tenche no chere adwene fa wo se ebia de ho akoyi ho akobenko so honye homie nkɔ nifa ho a bɛda dabi benku so hwa ne abasi akɔ ɛne amena ma susura na fe bɛde ho nyinaa akɔkɔgum na ya aba ne se no owura hare na idru so obusa sɛ da bɛnda ne mnaso gya fo bɛkɔ tena se bakɔfa agapa sa royalties nsɛm ya bɛtoa basiesie no bɛdware ne kama asra ne nko awi abɔ ne pawra awi na bɛsi abɔnten so amanfo ahunu se dia ho hia kora se de bɛba mnaso bɛdwam aka sɛ bɛba basiesie anase bɛka sa ho furo bia de afa ho ne na no ne Ghana mampani na dada kwakufu ado wani tu finance minister ni nse wasira na adanra yi wankwa na ja wansana nkwa mra sebedwam ono kwa nya ni mwani mu ya bato banwia na fe wanfo sa ajapa mineral royalties deal ho asenkọ na fe nchase ne nchechemu bi ho no onfa nkwato banim ni bansana engintum na adwuma wasebade ye no bentim fanye ono ni na ma onura hare na idrisu wa friends and trofo bo mra sebedwam agina nchana se he aso ya kan ye no mo be hu die ntia sa ada no kwadwo pɔnkroma ka papa no anem buafua ne me cheche magine de kyerɛ mansan no ho mumfo biem ne ho di Ghana japade akra wo sha asasim ya nkyiri mababa nyina mabadi de o akwaji sika be se mfiedu akomfiedu num na fa betu a be hu abusuafo a etase ne ba de atesana nanom ajapade akra banya wo mababa didi ho no benya hwi ni di ho a ne ho apa akyerɛ owura hare na idrisu.
We feel strongly vindicated. The truth must always stand with the political minority at all times. And Ghanaians will now understand why momentarily I lost my cool and temperament. For an important national matter of this character and nature, you find a minister of state trivialize it with Papano at that time, not concerned about the weight and magnitude of this particular transaction. You want to take gold, does it mean to chiefs and people who earn a portion of the Mineral Development Fund? Government ministers were joking and reduced that transaction to a trifle.
Payini ya dado kuma no romrasebe jam heri na idrisu ne ni yekotie no ada asane de beka no ana abanti ne be ho asane ne payini dado nkasia no romrasebe jam.
These things are very preposterous. Somebody says somewhere as making a definitive pronouncement. You ask him, have you seen it? He hasn't seen it. So what's the sense in critiquing when you say we haven't seen it? Even me, I can tell you that I haven't seen the referral and the content. So how does somebody sitting somewhere who hasn't seen it, condemn Parliament for lack of diligence? What is the vindication of the position? I heard Hussein Inusa. The main crux of Harun's intervention was that they didn't have time, that they were giving only 4 hours. What he knows between him and his God was a palpable untruth. On 2 days at least, we had to tarry, and we did so. So for him to say that we had only 4 hours, to me, I think Parliament doesn't work that way. Playing to the gallery that way doesn't help anybody. Let's respond to truth. Is it true that Parliament was given only 4 days?
Rampompune mantamu wabra wanomo yansa ntrofo hia mu no wode ato Peasant Farmers Association for nyina danim.
This bill really says we propose that Ghana should instead be working on getting a sui generis farmers' rights and plant breeders bill that promotes and protects the rights of smallholder farmers in particular and farmers in general, and not a bill that is heavily skewed towards protection of large corporations engaged in commercial breeding, which undermines farmers' rights. Once again, there was no response from any of these institutions. Though the bill hasn't been passed yet, it is before Parliament, and there's a possibility of it going through the process before this Parliament is dissolved. We would therefore like to use this medium to request Parliament to halt all processes leading to the passage of this bill and to truly call for open and transparent engagement of all stakeholders. We also call on the leadership by CSOs have been considered. We would also like to throw out a word of caution to the members of Parliament that as we approach the 2020 elections, we are keeping a close eye on any MP who votes in support of the bill, and we will not hesitate in advising our members in voting against such members, as it is clear that they do not serve the interests of their constituents.
Eno na da hono mame no kyerɛ mrasem bedwani biada ya wobeto aba de ama sa mra no abeyi adwuma no de abato ya ekoso ewu ba bedi ntwa no eno ntu ye mrasem bedwani a na wayɛ hwɛ yie pa ansana wodo nsa bɛhyɛ saa mmara n'ase a wode ahyɛ aseɛ ɛne yɛ a yɛkɔkɔtie yei ɛyɛ executive director ɛde ma Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana Owurajere Victoria Adongo.
Afei yɛntinsi amanyom kakra. General Secretary Dima NDC Chinia Manyoko Johnson na sie dunkatia. Waya de sradia ato manfo ne abusua be wa table manten. Abato ampasua so eni nse wo sre bada. Nyame ya adom wa December da wato sonso abato akase wakoso mane Ghana nhase no. Benhwe ye bankoto skirt and blouse. Beto abantu straight dress prekom. Na no ba sha atim a yefe. Aden nei se wo hwe no kokasa me kwato aba ma NDC panyina. Ono no agina wa ayama panyini dinim se okopre konwa kase no. Ni nipa o afa panyini na ato ma no mfaso bia ni so. Nti
Buzondo yanya rekura no vote a member free a sense free 90% e kosoro sanja fa Bahama fa sanja fa eti every sabre skirt and blouse emwa obia skirt and blouse share ye didi abro keke eti aye party enuti so bi ba ho no obeka se ye koto skirt and blouse wa ye o kira o se my enkodi abro na say your party every say munim dia skirt and blouse ediba nipa obeto amano say so ye independent so ye party fufro nipo koto skirt and blouse manua eti say de wakoto duo na do akoto pete on say pete ya wenenam eti say akoto aboba na di koto pete duo wa say ota wa say aboba wo di koto sa duo no eno nti enyina yanka say obi ana beda adaye say skirt and blouse ebeboa atembu NDC a ene oni akro ne ntoma apa
Owura Johnson asia dunkatia jena mosquito ne yekotie ya no ye baba ye bi wo ho wono achi okada ye bana ba mrante ne maye baba batwi wa bra mra bia wonsi bekwane ye de birima kwotutire yon carpenter bi be kwosua fita ne nyina bante kirem mankrofo bante asie yie
pre Andrew se youth no esore prekope na ye ko house to house room to room bed to bed na ene bema yemku ni mdie no 7 December no ayekese na ne ameka nyina ni se 7 December yebe hunu atuo ni asikan ekura yenuanu asojafo e wa tebubu ha omo nfa menye omo de ba be boye ho ban enunti yufufu no mo nhya mo hoden mo nhya mo sapo mo nso na mo hu sa na ema na dramani mama order number 2 enua sanja nanja order number 2 ndi wotuma sanja za na watrama John Dramani mama zu
Onu achi Owura Sanja nanja yo no atu Franka wo NDC amanyokwo nwatebo amantia bato mpasua sonso Kaseɛ ne wo cheche ne nsemu de kira mansane ya wo ka se o nyuma bebre na ho a behia se pagya bade bejemana ne so abane bi ba ye no niema akwafam nti wo ka de akira mansane nyina se nyame ya adom a ene abato oda ne bentomfa mo no Sanja nanja ne onfa ne papa mra atebo amanten
General Secretary your manifesto people's manifesto no I'm right here our high school students almost SS double track no afuno no sounds like training college some essential exams no and national service and first on say ba na essential exams mo direct postings akonya bebre and babu ni say some you see ba national apprenticeship program and this one say MPP omugo adwuma and omude ni go adwuma for enya nkranko na omugo adwuma no adob omude etuo omo raise na amene no abojo no omo raise omo revenue to extend say omo ntumi ntia revenue no
ne ya yekotie ye Owura Sanja nanja
na yade ani kiremo ewo enkran mantamo ene PP wosonkokuru kwa manyoko ni wo munuanom ene DC fo ene won manom ntiase abua no enam so ama won nyina kwa pama kire se abato ya enam so ema ni Lante Vanderpool ejina ene DC kine abato amanyoko nanam ehye bo kire se nyame ya adoma December boso me da etoso nson abato ya bekoso ewo mpotam ho no enya dia basabasa biada ebetimi atwe ne tire ewo ho wode ato ene DC party akitafo nyina ne mo se wobia nwitwi anyetrada na wanfa nani ankyeremu ewo baabi a yekwakoto abanyame adoma December boso me da etoso nson wato aba na wie no womra fie asonwa kwanso ade e be ye basabasaye emabunu empare wonom wonom nya de a wonom kwakoye basabasaye biada e wo ba bia ye kwakoto abase de be na sonye ya ya bo ho dawura boaba no ebetumi adimo na yentie ni lante
executive the entire membership of our party in the Odododo constituency to commit myself to peace before, during and after the December 7th presidential and parliamentary elections. I do this in the solemn belief that in this constituency we are a family, and as such I cannot see myself vandalizing, brutalizing, attacking any member of my family. I stand here to say that we in the NDC are committed to total peace. We want a peaceful elections. We want a peaceful environment so that our people will come out in their numbers to vote on the 7th of December 2020 for their preferred candidate.
Eni ya ye kwakotie ye ayamrase bedwani ya wono enahwe odododio abato mposia no eso ni Lante Vanderpoy na no se ya pe ena municipal chief executive wonu kuro yai ena him franka ediama NPP wosonkokoro kwamanyoko ni nkrabata ya ewo odododio abato mposia no so ni Lante Banaman wono so sofuru gina simpie so na wode atodwa akyerese NPP wosonkokoro kwamanyoko no wonomo aya amanyoko bi a wonomo gina ho edi masonwe eno nti abato ya ebekwaso no wonomo bo asonwe ho dawuro enya ntokwa eye kyere wadwen na menkyere ma adwen nim eda NPP wonhyehye ye nyina adi adekyere adehye ekyere se emampanyin na do wo baye no wapɔ ne homɔden papa na woguso ya ɔbɔ ne homɔden eba ne empuntunyuma mu a emampanyin na do wone ne NPP wo ma ben papa eno nti Ghana adehye nto aba ema wonomo. As a
person and as a political party, MPP, we believe strongly in the politics of ideas. We believe that the electorate should be given the free will without any persuasion whatsoever to decide who and which party the person will want to vote for. We are not a violent party and will not subscribe and endorse any violence in any way. And I strongly condemn what happened the last time in no uncertain terms. But I want to also emphasize that politics, for that matter, is about development. It's about progress. And that is what I stand for. That is what the political party MPP stands for.
Ene ya ye kokotie ye aya municipal chief executive wonu kuro ya na premier se bedwa akonwa ewo NPP wosonkokoro kwamanyoko ni dinimu ewo odododio abato emposia no eso ni Lante Banaman
afe yamfa Kaseɛ ni nwie mfuye be ma madam fuye be ma so bi wo ho ada madam fuye ba ni bi wo ho wo hwene ma hu secretary opa ba yai pa nso ontinka ono na nso ma nne ya wade bofo sikan ma wane mansani ayama ya ba wato chima kroporim adi nkomo ne ba sanya ba ka na sebade sebada mfodewo ana wo ya be ma wo hia no ne wo pɛ no ne se wanti manka onfa ho ne de obaye onfiu kra bebi ho kra ne be kra nkasa be fili nso ona nsa Ghana ha se no ba akokɔ pɛ be ma ane wasem benti nka no wakuram hanti bia nkɔka hwe ndi se wo pɛ ne wanka de a ane wanka sa wo gyagireje obɛhɔ ho a kɔpenso de bɛkɔ adamnam beba de badi action speaks rather than west no ben sada ngene sa nti wono sa wo pede a anya west no mani mfuro no ye action si bia bagina ha ba cheche amati cheche se ni me ba fia de cha me to dross abrawo ade cha bode si na adwa me yankwa ha na adwa me yamfa ha bikasa no kora no buafua